Hi everyone, this is Aga from EurekaCrystalBeads.com and welcome to another fun beading tutorial. But before I get started, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. In this video, I'll show you how to make this Queen's Garden bracelet. The main features, the main stars of this bracelet are crystals, which we have here as 8mm chatons and 4mm bicones, and pearls, which in this case are 6mm pearls from Krakovski Crystal. And all of the beads that I'll be using today are actually from our November 2025 collection, Queen's Garden. This is the inspiration photo for this collection. Isn't it gorgeous? All the beads are just as gorgeous as the photo itself. And we just released it as of the publication of this video, so go check it out if you haven't already. And here are the materials that you're gonna need to make a bracelet like this. You're gonna need 5 or 6 for a typical wrist, 8mm chatons, and you want those that have a pointy back, because there are also those that have a slightly flatter back. So for this one, you want the ones with a pointy back. You're also going to need 4mm bicone beads, 6mm pearls or round beads. You're gonna need O beads, and here I have O beads, but I do believe that ring beads or size 8 demi-rounds will work as well. Then you're gonna need some round beads. I'll be using Miyuki's, and here I have 11 O's and 15 O's, plus literally 8 Toho Treasures or Miyuki Delicas per one segment, and 4 of the 8 O's also per segment. And the ones that I'll be using that I have here are from this exclusive size mix that was included in the collection that we have at Eureka. Let us know, by the way, in the comments what other colors we should make these size mixes in. I think it's super useful. You have size 8, size 11, and size 15 beads in the same color all in one tube. So I think that's pretty practical. Additionally, in between the segments, we're going to be using these clever little findings that are a little bit like super duos. So I do believe that actually instead of those, you could use super duos. So these are a little bit larger. So I think that maybe like bar beads would be better for this. But this one has a little rhinestone in there, so I love them. They're so gorgeous. They are 2-hole connectors, sort of. They have these 2 holes that you can pass through, and they're just perfect to add in between the sections, the segments in the bracelet. So it's so sparkly, really, from the chatons, the bicones, and these connectors here. Everything sparkles just so beautifully. You're also going to need a clasp, and you get 2 clasps in the collection. I picked this magnetic clasp because it's quite strong, and I think for this particular bracelet is a little bit more elegant than the toggle clasp that we have. So I decided to use this, but you can use any clasp that you want. Now for the tools, I'll be mostly using a size 10 needle, so the thicker one. This is going to help me direct the beads because they're going to be pretty tight at one point. So I'll be using the thicker needle that is not so easily bent. But because we're using 15 O's, I also have a size 12 ready in case I need to use it. And I'll be doing it all with a 6-pound fire line in the color crystal. I do think that a light color thread is the preferred one in this case. Plus, I have some thread cutters to cut off the excess of my thread. And that's it. Let's start beading. Alright, so you make each of these segments separately, and then I like to connect the next one to the previous one with the tail thread that I have left off making it. So you just make a new segment and connect it, and that's how you put it all together. And as for individual segments, we're going to be making the outer circle with the pearls and the bicones first. Then we're going to go to do the front, and finally we're going to close in the back. This is going to be super quick and easy, so I think even beginners can work this tutorial very well. And if you are a beginner and you did try it, let us know in the comments how it went. All right, so for the purpose of the video, I'm just going to do the final segment and connect it to this previous one, and then connect the other end of the clasp, the other half of the clasp, and that's going to be it. Literally, the whole bracelet can take you like 2 hours maybe, so it's super fun to make. Oh, and in the collection, you get a mix of these bicones with 4 colors in there. So you can do interchangeably. Here I'm alternating between the blue zircon and the emerald, and I think it looks pretty neat. And then you also get 6 of those chatons, so I think that's the perfect number to make one bracelet. But anyway, I digress. We're gonna start with this sequence of 4 bicones and 4 pearls interchangeably with O beads in between them. So I have a bicone, O bead, pearl, O bead, bicone, O bead, pearl, O bead, bicone, O bead, pearl, O bead, bicone, O bead, pearl, and the last O bead here. And I'm gonna slide that down my thread. You're gonna need about half a wingspan for this, so not that long. And I'm going to pass through all those beads again from the start. So that they create a sort of a circle, a squarish circle, you might say. And I would normally like to tie a knot in here so that the thread doesn't slip and slide, but I'm not going to do that because we are going to actually need some of that movement and some of that looseness to pass through those beads. And we don't want them to be too tight because the angles between the O beads and the bicones and the pearls can make it a little bit hard to exit them if you have them very tight. So that's why I'm not putting a knot over here. But instead, I'm passing through actually just the bicone in the first O bead here so that my thread comes out before the pearl. Like that. And I'm going to pick up 5 11-ohs. There's 5. And I'm going to pass through the next O bead, bicone, O bead. So I'm skipping the pearl and passing through the next 3 beads. And I'm putting those 5 in front of that pearl here. More or less like that. I pick up 5 more 11-ohs, and again I pass through the next sequence of O bead, bicone, O bead. I put the seed beads in front of the pearl. Another set of 5. And the last one in this row. And you're next to the first set of 5 that was added. And you want to step up through the seed beads. And we're going to go to the 4th one. So 4 out of 5, you pass through. And now we're just going to be adding a single delica. And we're going to skip the first seed bead in the next sequence of 5. We're going to pass through 3. So skipping the last one as well. And just connecting the 2 sequences. Another delica. And through the 3 out of the 5 in the next sequence. You can start pulling it tight at this point. Another delica. Passing through 3. And my last delica in this row, which is the final row in the front, by the way, and passing through the 3 in the first sequence. Now, naturally, you want it nice and tight, so I'm going to pass through all of the beads in this row again, so all of the 11-ohs and the delicas. Alright, I passed through all 4 of them, and now it's already time to step down to close the back So I'm stepping down the last of the 5 beads that I added on top of the pearl. And just as before, in passing through the O bead, bicone O bead again. And we're basically going to be doing the same thing in the back. We're just going to finish it differently. So I flip my work. And right now my thread is coming out of this O bead here. And I'm going to pick up 511 O's again. And pass through the O bead, bicone O bead, the next one in line. And you just add 4 sequences of that on top of the pearls again. And here's my last sequence of 5. I'm going to pass through that first sequence of O bead, bicone O bead. Put the beads in the back facing me because I'm looking at it from the back. And I'm going to step up through 3 of the 5 beads, the first sequence that I added. So now we want to connect the middle seed beads in here. But first, we're going to put in our stone. So I take my beautiful stone and I just drop it in there, just like that. No effort needed. It's going to basically arrange itself in the middle there. And I'm going to connect the middle 11 O's in each of the 4 sequences with a single delica. So I'm looking for the third one in this sequence. Make sure that your stone doesn't fall out. Another delica through the middle 11 O. A third one. And the fourth one. Now that's almost done. I'm going to pass through all those beads again, so the delicas and the 11 O's to make it a little bit more tight and firm. And now to make it even neater, I'm going to pass just through the delicas. I'm going to skip the 11 O's now and just pass through the delicas. And when you pull them all together, they meet in this nice little square. So you pull tight and voila, that's done. That's a full segment. Now what we need to do is we need to go back to one of those pearls to connect this segment to the previous one. So I step down the gold seed beads. And then as my thread leads me through the O bead, the bicone, and the next O bead, and the next pearl as well, finally. And we're going to connect the segments by the pearls. So my thread is coming out of the pearl, and what I pick up is a 15 O to 11 O's, then my 8 O, and my rhinestone 2-hole connector. And I'm going to look at the direction in which my thread is coming out. And you want to place that connector somewhere like this. So since I'm adding a sequence on this left side, I'm going to go through the left hole here. And I'm going to add another sequence, but in reverse. So that's going to be an 8-0, 2 11-0s, and a 15-0. And now I'm going to look at the previous segment that I have that I need to connect to. So that's this one with the emerald bicones. And I'm going to pass through this pearl from the same side. So I need to find this hole in this pearl here. And that's why you need a size 10 needle, because it can move those beads around a little bit. And that's why I do not recommend finishing off all of your threads, because if I still had the tail thread in here, the tail thread that I started with, those beads could get a little bit more loose and it would be a little bit easier to connect them. And only then tighten it all up and finish off the tail threads. So, don't be like me and leave your tail thread on so that it's just easier for you. Now we're going to do this side. So that's 15 to 11 and an 8/0. Now I already have this connector here, so I'm just passing through the free hole of it. The same sequence in reverse on the other side. And now I'm going to go through this purl in my original segment that I just made, but from right to left. So I need to flip my work a little bit so that it's easier. And I'm going to pass through that purl. See, it's a lot easier since I have my tail thread still in there. And I'm going to pass through the 3 gold seed beads, the 8/0, the connector, and the 8/0 on the other side now. That's where you want to be, coming out of the 8/0 after the connector. And all the while, I do like to make this laying down mostly because it's easier to keep the tension, and you should keep the tension a little bit tighter here so that it doesn't get loose. But anyway, I'm picking up 2 15 here, and I'm going down the 8/0 connector, 8/0 on the other side. So I'm connecting these 2 8/0s up top here. Like that. We're going to add a third one in the middle in a second, but for now we want to add the 2 on the other side, and this time I'm only passing through the 8/0, the first one, and exiting before the connector. Now I'm going to add 3 15 in here to make this nice little pointy element. So 3 15 and you can play around with it. Do like 3 11 or 11 15 11. You can just look what looks nicest to you. And I'm passing through the 8 on the other side as well as the first of the 2 15. Make sure that these land in here somewhat like this. I'm picking up my remaining 15 here and passing through the second one in the 8/0. This is going to pop right in there. Now I want to add 3 15 on this other side here. Pass through the 8/0 and the first of the 15. Make sure that they pop in here in a nice little triangle. Add the missing 15 in here in between these. And go down the 8/0 on the other side. Now at this point, I would normally go down the beads, tie a knot, weave in my tail, cut off the excess thread, but I think this thread that I have left is actually enough to attach a clasp. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the other side. I'm going to go through the connector and through all 3 at the bottom here. Why not? Let's strengthen it all up. And through the purl. You can also just go through the 15 in between the 8/0. But I'm just going to make sure that it doesn't get loose over time. So I'm going through this entire sequence for a second time, basically. And through these 3. Through the purl, just like before. And now I'm going to go to the purl that's opposite to it, where I want to attach my clasp. So through the O bead, bicone, O bead. All right, and now you want to be coming out of that purl on the other side. And we can attach our clasp. Now to attach this second half of my clasp, so we're going to start with a 15 just like in the connecting part, but this time we're picking up 3 11 and then we're going to pick up our bicone, slide that down, and then you want to pick up 9 15 and it's this many because actually it turns out that they fit through this rather large hole in the clasp. So some of them are going to hide inside it, just like that, so they kind of barely fit. And if your clasp has a hole that doesn't fit a 15-0, then just use maybe 4 on one side and 4 on the other, or you can also use 11-0s as well, of course. I'm going to slide that down, and I'm going to pass through the bicone again, just down like this. And when you pull tight, make sure that the clasp is somewhat in the middle of that sequence. And I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s and a 15-0 for the other side. And I'm going to pass through this pearl from the other side. And voila, here is your clasp attached. Now I do want to strengthen this, so I'm going to pass through all of those beads again. You can go through the beads one more time if you want it super secure, or you can tie off your thread, weave in the tail, and you're going to be done. Finally, don't forget to tighten up and finish off the tail thread that you started with, the one that was still connected to the spool. And the bracelet is ready. Isn't it gorgeous? So royal and sparkly. And I think the pearls really add some extra class and glamour. And the magnetic clasp, I think, is very useful as well there, and it's closed. It's perfect for my wrist. So the 6 are perfect for me. I have an average wrist on the larger side, I would say. So if you have a tiny wrist, maybe 5 crystals and 5 segments will be enough. You can always add just a little space if you add like an extra 11-0 even on either side of the bicone here and here, and you have just a little bit space more there. As I mentioned, all of the supplies that I used to make this bracelet are from our November 2025 Queen's Garden collection. It's a gorgeous one, and you can find it as well as all of the supplies that I use here and all of the products from the collection under the links that you'll find in the description down below. And at eurekacrystalbeads.com, that's where you find all of the beads, crystals, and all of our beautiful collections. If you like this design, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and give us a follow if you like our tutorials and our content. Meanwhile, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next tutorial. Bye!